Hi, third, fourth, and fifth grade leaders. We're preparing for July 14th. This week, we're looking at God's covenant with David. What we have seen so far in this series is that the Israelites have asked for a king. God provided a king, King Saul. King Saul was not necessarily a good king. He didn't expect him to be a great king because the promised Savior king is not King Saul. And so, because Saul was not a good king, God asked Samuel to find Saul's replacement very early in his kingship. King David is going to become the king after Saul, but David was chosen to be that king when he was a young boy. Remember, when he was young, he defeated Goliath. That's when he was chosen to be king, but he's not king yet. Jonathan, Saul's son, has gone into battle to fight the Philistines, and in that battle, continued to fight the Philistines, yes. In that battle, Jonathan is killed. After Jonathan is killed, it breaks Saul's heart, and he throws himself on his own sword, and he dies as well. And after that, David becomes king. When David becomes king, he moves to the palace. He moves the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem, which makes the people very happy. God blessed David and gave him peace with his enemies. In other words, they're not going to fight anymore. But when David looked around, he thought that something doesn't seem right. The Ark of the Covenant is kept in a tent, and David is living in the palace. So he decides he'd like to build a temple to store the Ark of the Covenant. And God tells him, no, I never asked you to build me a house. For 400 years, the Ark of the Covenant has been in a tent, has dwelt in the tent. And so God uses this opportunity to remind David of all the things that God did to help prepare him to be king, to be the king after God's own heart. David had been a shepherd, but God made him king. God promised to give the Israelites a place to stay, the promised land, so they wouldn't need to move around anymore. God promised to give his people rest from their enemies so they could stop fighting. After Jonathan and Saul were killed, that God promised David that they would stop, he would bring peace. And though God denied David's desire to build God a house, God promised to make a house for David, not an earthly house, but a dynasty. In other words, all of the earthly kings for Israel would come out of David's family. And we know that the Savior King, Jesus, came out of David's family. So again, God is preparing the people to see that there is a king coming. He's not going to look like you want him to look like, potentially. He's not going to have the earthly wealth that you think comes with a king. He is going to be the promised Savior King, and he's still to come. So that's where we are with our story today. In your small group lesson, you will have, I'm trying to find my chopsticks. Over there. For your social activity, you're going to have, and we've done a game similar to this. This one should, because the kids have had the chance to play something similar already, they should be better at working with the chopsticks. And also, they should be able to move more of the cereals into the bowl than they did the last time. The game is called Chop to It. You're going to divide your group into two teams. And team 1 and team 2 are going to have a bowl of cereal and an empty bowl each. What they're going to do is take their chopsticks and try to move their cereal to the other bowl as fast as they can, with as much as they can, in their 1 minute. And when their 1 minute is up, you will count how many they have in their bowl. They can count them if they'd like to, and then you can give them give them to them in a Ziploc baggie or in their hand, however you want to handle that. And so you're going to count how many cereals make it to the other bowl. Your older kids should be able to get 25, maybe more potentially, and they're able to grab more at a time with this game than they were last time, because last time they had to sort it out one at a time. All right, if you have kids with food allergies, you may want to go ahead and put your sign up in your doorway before parents drop their kids off, or wherever you do check-in, if it's separate from where the kids are, so that those with food allergies, parents can tell you, hey, they can play the game, but they can't eat it, or they shouldn't even be anywhere close to the cereal, and maybe you can sit with that kid and play something else if that's the case. These social activities are really for two reasons. In the past, we've done minute to win it games, but only 2 people can play at a time. So this way, everybody gets a chance to play more games. And also, it's summertime, and so we're trying to have some fun together. All right, in your small group time, you have some plates that look like this that already have a bunch of sayings on them. You also have a timeline that looks like this. You're going to use your timeline and lay it out. It already should be in order in your bag, the way we've taught all of the stories. If you have questions about it and it got out of order, it should go, except for Job, it should go in order of the books of the Bible. Job is chronologically in the right place, but in the Bible, it's in a different place, if that helps you. All right. And then what you're going to do once you lay all of this out is you're going to give each kid a couple different plates, and they're going to help decide where that plate belongs on the timeline. Oh, wait, let me see, make sure. Oh, never mind. Okay, wrong instructions. Sorry about that. Let me read you the right instructions. Okay, so timeline should help you with this story. You're going to have 2 baskets. On one of the baskets, it'll be labeled I have, and on the other basket, it'll be labeled I will. And you're going to form 2 teams. If you want to use your same teams that you use for your social, you can do that. And then you're going to set a stack of paper plates in front of each team. Each team should have the same number of plates. I don't know if you can see, but like the first one should be never asked my people to build me a house. All right. And so when you say go, teams should work together to sort the plates into things God has done, which is the I haves, and things that God said he would do, the I wills. And then they're going to challenge the teams to toss their plate into the correct basket. So you may want to mark a line on the floor so they can toss it into the correct basket. If it's challenging for the kids to figure out the I haves or the I wills, you could simplify the tossing part and just have them, once they figured out which category it goes in, the I have or the I will, to just run it over and put it in that basket if you'd like to. More than anything, we're hoping that this activity helps remind the kids of what we've learned so far about God's promises. There's a good chance that many of the kids that are with you on Sunday haven't heard all of the story before, but we're hoping by telling it telling the whole story again, that we will help kids who've either not heard the story before are hearing it again. Maybe it's going to sink in a different way this time. And I realize for some of your younger kids, this might be really challenging activity, but it could be a great debate as well. So have kids think about, did God promise Did God say that he never asked his people to build him a house? Or did God say that to David that he'd make him a ruler over all my people? Did God say that he's been moving around with a tent as his dwelling? So, see, you're going to get the chance to walk through this story again and help kids see it in a different way, process it in a different way. All right, your memory verse activity. You have another word search puzzle, and your kids may. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, in your bag, you also have an answer key for what should be in what basket. So hopefully that helps you as a leader if you are having a hard time sorting that out as well. All right. And then your word search, kids are going to fill in the blanks. They're going to search for the words that are in the blanks up in their word search, and they can take that home with them. Thank you for leading. Now is the time for us to start talking about the fall and what groups you guys would like to lead in the fall. I really encourage you, as you've learned to build relationships with the age grade that you are in now, that you consider staying with that age grade. Many of our kids look forward to moving to your group, and so they want to come be a part of what you're doing, not just move to the next group. And so I encourage you for that reason, but I also encourage you because there's many things that if you'll stick with the same grade for some time on Sunday morning in particular, because your group of kids is so different every week. If you'll stick with a grade or a group that you're typically with, you're going to see that there's some comfort that you find in the next year that you lead that you didn't have the year before, because you're still trying to figure out what is it that third graders do? What is it that fifth graders talk about? And how am I going to talk about it with them? Obviously, not every group is the same, and there will be some differences, but I think you're going to see that there are many things that are similar, and that your next years of leading within that group are easier on you. Let me know if you would like to change, and I'll try to do my best to accommodate that if that's an urgent need. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.